2016 presidential hopeful Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin already under siege by Democrats. Former presidential candidate Howard Dean bashed Walker for not finishing college. Watch this.
This is a particular problem from Scott Walker, which has not been an issue yet, but it will. Scott Walker, were he to become president, would be the first president in many generations who did not have a college degree. So the issue here is not just an issue of dancing around the question of evolution for political reasons. The issue is, how well educated is this guy?
Meanwhile, the New York Times blaming his education policies in Wisconsin for teachers losing their jobs.
So why has Walker already become a Democratic target? Let's ask former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown. Nice to see you, Senator.
Welcome back. Good to see you all. Thank you.
What do you make of that? I mean, he's clearly at the top of some of these polls already.
Of course he is.
It seems like he's got a big target on his back.
Well, that's what Howard Dean done. He is the attack dog that goes after every candidate who's starting to show signs of life and really moving forward ahead of the pack. That, coupled with a lot of the very liberal media outlets, going after his policies, really doing the deep dive, misrepresenting the facts. And I took a minute, I talked to you earlier about the fact that you have a lot of Mark Zuckerberg, Jesse Ventura, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Karl Rove, Barbara Streisand, Derek Jeter, Peter Jennings. These are a lot of, and as was referenced earlier.
Steve Jobs,
yeah.
No college degree.
Washington, Lincoln, Johnson, Jackson. Didn't have high school educations, didn't finish college, or get into college. They just graduated from high school. But here's the key. Walker is a self-made, hard-charging, dynamic leader. And the fact that he didn't go to college, quite frankly, I don't think we need another Harvard professor or a Harvard graduate at the White House.
But isn't it, here you have Howard Dean, who's a rich kid who grew up in the Hamptons and Park Avenue, went to Yale because his dad went there, who thought Job was in the New Testament. Here's the guy attacking Scott Walker, who left college to work at the Red Cross. If Scott Walker were a liberal, don't you think the New York Times would be saying he cared so much
they'd have a statue.
that he dropped out to work at the Red Cross?
They'd have a statue in Times Square about him. But bottom line is he's a proven leader, done a great job. He's working very, very hard to try to make a difference. And I would rather have somebody there from the School of Hard Knocks who's actually been tried and tested and is a leader beyond a degree. I think it's a good opportunity.
Well, one of the things that makes a candidate so relatable is while they're on the campaign trail, they're drinking a beer on the campaign trail, they're eating at the greasy restaurants and all that. But does this make him seem too normal?
Well, I'm not sure what too normal means in today's society.
For the commander-in-chief, does Howard Dean have an argument at all?
Is he out doing selfies and making faces in the mirror and doing self-promoting and having terrible form when he's shooting the basketball? So a little bit different. I think he has an opportunity to be a good leader.
Let's get you to weigh in on 2016. Remember these comments from Barbara Bush? She said this about any more Bushes running for the White House. Take a listen. Now it's okay for Jeb Bush.
Yeah. Yes.
It's Mom.
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
That's great. Just listening in. Anyway, what do you mean too many Bushes? Are you talking about literacy? That's not what I'm talking about, but I've changed my mind. Please don't.
She changed her mind a few years ago. She said no more Bushes in the White House. Right. Donald Trump says the last thing we need is another Bush in the White House. What do you make of the change here?
Well, I think it's important that he has his mom's support, certainly. I've spoken with Jeb Bush, met with him. Obviously, Marco, Bolton, Lindsey Graham, they're all coming through New Hampshire. And there's an opportunity, I think, for the people of New Hampshire in particular to go and meet these people and have the true and tested open town halls. Going to the diners, go grabbing a beer. That everyman approach really works in New Hampshire, that grassroots effort. So, I look forward to actually being there, working with them, and vetting them.
So the Jeb Bush strategy appears to be to kind of ignore conservatives on a couple of issues they really care about, immigration, Common Core, kind of go around them and basically run a general election campaign during the primaries. Will that work?
Listen, he's raising a ton of money. Walker's going after a different group. Obviously, Marco's going after a different group. He has to be ready on the issues, though. I've heard him speak. He has a lot of work to do on those issues, on the women's issues, on immigration, on the core, everyday mom and pop, everyday safety and security issues. He's got a lot of work to do.
It'll be fascinating to watch. No clear frontrunner at this point, but it's
okay. Well, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats anoint them. You have Hillary. That's it. And they'll be ready and they'll have the money and the resources. Republicans go through a vetting process, which I think is really important for the American people. And we don't need 4 more years of President Obama through Hillary Clinton.
Former President Scott Brown, it's great to see you. Thank you for coming on.
Good to see you guys.